Kathryn is the president and chief learning officer for her company, Hotte Consulting, Inc. As well, she's previously served as a small business advisor for the Rural Alberta Business Centre in Cold Lake. While in Cold Lake, she received 2 awards from the Economic Developers of Alberta, one in 2016 for the creation of a business incubator, and one for her regional outreach, Raising the Roof in Rural Alberta. Kathryn was also awarded with the 2017 Women of Influence Award, and she has recently moved to Beaumont, Alberta, which she's just recently confirmed is right outside of Edmonton, not far off in the boonies or anything. So she's also working at the Prospect Human Services there in Edmonton as the advisor for entrepreneurs with disabilities. She is also the executive in residence for Western Canada for the Princess Trust, conducting entrepreneurial workshops for outgoing military personnel. And she's completing her second book called Texting to Talking, which is about to be featured in a full-length movie entitled Moments in Space-Time, scheduled to be released in October. So it'd be cool to hear more about that too, Kathryn, but I'll turn it over to you for your presentation.
Thank you so much, Bridget. Can everyone see the screen there? Are we good? Okay, perfect. Thanks for the intro. Yeah, a side note to the book. So the book, I am trying to finish it. If anyone out there has ever tried to write a book, it takes forever because you have a life. You're trying to be inspired to sit down and write. Anyway, I'm almost done. And yes, so I plan, and I've been doing interviews with all kinds of people around the world, and I'm hoping to get that finished. The movie is separate in the sense that one of my clients has a film company, and they asked me to be in this movie. And so I did it on a volunteer basis. I didn't get any payment for this at all. And they really had to talk me into it. I'm going to be honest, they just talked me into it. But yeah, it's called Moments in Space-Time. It actually is being released according to the IMDb website this month on October 25th. So I need to find out when and where and how that's happening. But if anyone's a movie buff, if you're a movie buff and you've ever seen Lord of the Rings or Indiana Jones, my father in the movie has dementia. And he's played by John Rhys Davies. If you know John Rhys Davies, he played Gimli in Lord of the Rings, and he played Salah in Indiana Jones. So yeah, interesting side note. And like I said, if you get a chance to go see the movie, go see it and then tell me what you think. So, okay, so but I'm coming to you today on behalf of Prospect Human Services, which our main office is actually in Calgary, and we have an office in Edmonton as well as a few other offices. And I'm with the program Entrepreneurs with Disabilities. So I'm going to go through the presentation. I was given about 5 minutes. I probably got it down to 6. I was telling Bridget, I think I got it down to 6, but it may take 7 minutes. If you have questions though, please put them in the chat, and then maybe Bridget can kind of keep track, and then we'll see if we have some time at the end to answer them. And I can send the presentation in PDF too. So, if that's an option as well, I can share that as well, Bridget. So as part of the team, I'll say EDP, it's just easier than saying Entrepreneurs with Disabilities every single time. So the EDP team is myself and my co-advisor, business advisor, Dave Reed. And then we have our admin assistant, Carmen Thomas, who actually has a disability. She's deaf. And so there's challenges with that as well. And there's accommodations that we make within the office for her as well. So the outline today is I will go through just an overview of kind of who we are. And then our partner is Rise. They're actually headquartered out of Toronto, but it's our partner as far as finance. So I'm just going to have a slide on that just to kind of give you an understanding that there is an option for financing, and that is available to anyone in Alberta. Even though the Entrepreneurs with Disabilities program is mostly focused in the Metro Edmonton area, our finance partner Rise, that's open to any Albertan, so not just the Edmonton area here. I'll talk about some of the client's first steps, and some of these, if you're a business startup, you've probably already gone through these steps, but just to kind of give you an understanding as to kind of how we work with our clients for those first steps in getting started. I want to talk a little bit about mental health, and I'm going to tell you why, because it is in many cases, a lot of the times, a lot of the clients that we have disabilities that are directly related to mental health. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and then how you can contact us. So Entrepreneurs with Disabilities. So it might not be apparent, but people with disabilities have a lot in common with entrepreneurs. And I say that because both groups face more barriers than most people. Both groups have to be extra determined to succeed in business. And I'm an entrepreneur myself, so I totally get that. And both groups have to be able to tune out what they call those naysayers, and they are out there. In many ways, people with disabilities make ideal entrepreneurs. And if you ask a successful entrepreneur like Richard Branson, who is actually dyslexic, Branson says that the condition made him a better business owner because it taught him how to delegate tasks he wasn't so good at. It left him free to look at the bigger picture of growing the business. And a wonderful quote from Richard Branson. I use Richard Branson in a lot of my presentations because I love his quotes. And I think this particular quote really reflects an EDP client for us is dyslexia is just an alternative way of thinking. And there are many celebrities out there that have disabilities. A few that come to mind are Stevie Wonder, Robin Williams, Tom Cruise, Howie Mandel. They all suffer from some type of a disability. And I like to include this because I think an opportunity out there for diversity is Hollywood. So, and that's a very broad word to use, but Hollywood tries to champion diversity. And, greater diversity in media can have various positive outcomes because it does create positive examples for preteens and teens who look to celebrities as role models. And it does increase public awareness and public knowledge of the barriers to accessibility that's encountered by people with disabilities. So for example, actors portraying people with disabilities are often not actually disabled themselves. One study looked at 21 different TV shows available on streaming services. And of those, 17 actors portrayed characters with disabilities, yet only 2 of those performers were actually disabled in real life. I don't know if anyone's seen the movie A Quiet Place. I've got the poster there on the slide. It's an excellent movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it. Super scary. But John Krasinski, who's from The Office fame, if anyone knows John Krasinski, he actually hired a young deaf actress. So the daughter that played in the movie that plays his daughter, she is actually deaf. And he wanted to hire her because he wanted it both due to her skills, but he also wanted that artistic vision and that authenticity to the role. So, I mean, I bring this up because I think that, Hollywood and, celebrities in general, I think we need to do a better job here. And this is an opportunity, I think, to do that. So just a side note on there. So, and disability in Canada. So approximately 1 in 7 Canadians live with a disability, and that's expected to grow to 1 in 5 by 2036, due in large part, of course, to the aging baby boomer population. But as a business owner, if you have a team of people, or if you plan to create one, you need to be aware that, the commitment needs to be more than just hiring different kinds of people. The diverse and the inclusive workplaces must support the needs of all employees, but also those with disabilities as well. And a disability, so people ask me, what is a disability? It is so wide ranging. It can be pain related, it can be flexibility, mobility, mental health, hearing, seeing, learning, and anyone at any time can become disabled. And so it's very wide ranging. So the overview for a person that would like to be a client of the EDB program, and again, I want to clarify that our program is at no cost to anyone. So you'd be a good fit for us if you live in the Metro Edmonton area. You can identify, and this is a self-identification, so you just have to check the box on the intake form. So you identify as having a permanent disability or a chronic condition. You have a realistic business idea that you're passionate about, of course, and you're ready and willing to start it, and that you are creative and you're ready for that change. People think that they're ready for the change, but they're not always ready for that change. So we always throw that in there as well. And our way of doing this is one-on-one. So our main focus is we work with you one-on-one. We're not mentors, we are advisors. I'm a business advisor. We can assign a mentor to you, and we have done that in many cases. Not everybody wants a mentor, but again, we can. We can craft the program to meet our clients' needs. When and how we meet is up to our clients. And as far as accommodations, we can make our sessions more accommodating for you if you do have a disability. We understand that our clients have unique challenges, and so we want to ensure that we make accommodations for them. So whether that means meeting at a place that they need to meet so they don't have to come to our office. And we are downtown, and to be honest, anyone in Edmonton never wants to come downtown, so it's we can kind of see that. So we're able to meet them wherever they'd like to meet. We can do it over the phone. We can now do it through Zoom. Of course, everyone's Zooming. In some cases, we need to adjust the lighting if we are in the office, because the lighting can have an effect for some. A couple of recent clients that come to mind that we've had to make some accommodations for is one client in particular had a brain injury. And so retention of information was an issue. And so for them to remember a meeting, a simple meeting, I would not only have to email them, but I'd have to text them a couple of days before, then text them the day before, and then text them the day off. And that's just what we do, right? So that's just one example. But we always ask our clients, what can we do? And how can we make this easier for you? And the services offered, well, we have our workshops, and we've done workshops on everything from LinkedIn and Facebook. One that I like to do a lot of is the idea napkin. I don't know if anyone's heard of the idea napkin, you probably have. And it's one of the first things that I give to my clients is to get that idea out of their head and onto paper. And the easiest way to do that is using the idea napkin, because it's so simple and easy. So we do various workshops. We have done them sort of in-house, but now of course everyone's Zooming, so we've taken them online. Mentorship, as I said, we can offer mentors. We have about 9 mentors that have volunteered for us. We usually ask about 1 to 2 hours a month. It's really just a check-in. So we do say that if you need a mentor, if we don't have one, we will find one for you. And then we have our networking. So we have a bi-weekly, every second Wednesday, we have a bi-weekly networking meeting. In fact, the networking meeting is today at 1 o'clock. And so we just invite our clients, and we kind of leave it open. Similar to what we're doing today. Sometimes we'll have a topic and sometimes we won't. And we just kind of see where it goes. So we have that as well. Some current stats. I think we've had the program, I've been with the company just a little over a year, and we started about 6 months before that. So I would say probably 2 years. We've had over 120 clients. And I think in the last 2 weeks, that's really upped. I think everyone's coming out of the woodwork in the last 2 weeks. And we've had over 35 businesses started or expanded. We have a couple of events. One of the events, we have an entrepreneurial connector and business showcase. We had one last year, and we had the mayor of Edmonton come out for it. We had some guest speakers. We had a couple of success stories. We invited all of our partners and our clients. We gave them all a table, and we had like a business showcase. We had prizes and we had gift bags for everybody. And unfortunately, we won't be able to do that this year because of COVID. So we're looking at doing some sort of an online version, and we're hoping to tie that into Business Week as well. And so that's coming up this month. So if you're interested in joining in, it will be a virtual version of that. Again, share your email with me and at the end, and I'll certainly put you on our email list. We do it at the same time as DEEM. And the reason why we do it at the same time as DEEM, so DEEM is Disability Employment Awareness Month. And we do that in conjunction, which is every October. So that's why it's always in October, because we combine it with DEEM. Like I said, we do have financing that's available through our partner RISE, who's headquartered out of Toronto. They really focus on character loans and low interest financing through these, what we call micro loans. You can get up to $10,000. Most of the loans are between $3,000 and $4,000. And again, this is available to anyone in Alberta, whereas our EDV program is for Edmonton, Metro Edmonton only. This is available to anyone. And then of course, if you get a loan through RISE, then we become your business advisors. So we do have a youth program as well. This is done through our partner RISE. It's for Canadian youth between 16 and 29 who self-identify as having a mental health or addiction challenge, are interested in starting or growing a business, and are unable to get that traditional financing. It's basically a 7-week program. They had in-house workshops and online, but now it's gone completely online. We have had graduates. Those are a few of our graduates in our last cohort. So that's another program that we offer as well. So the first steps for our clients, really is, you would call the office. We get your information. We clarify that you can in fact be part of the program. Our admin assistant, Carmen, would send you, it's a self-assessment. It's an entrepreneurial potential self-assessment. There's no pass or fail. It just kind of shows you and us, where your strengths and where maybe some of your challenges are. Then we meet up, either with myself or Dave, and we go through an intake process. And then we can start that first, client consult meeting. We do ask that you sign an intake form and that you check that box that you have a permanent or chronic condition. You don't have to tell us what it is. Of course, it does typically come out in our conversations, but it's simply a self-declaration. We don't need a medical note or anything like that. And to get started, this is basically, some of the things that we talk to our clients. This is one of the slides directly out of the presentation that I do with my clients. But really one of the first things that we talk about with them is, what is your idea? And I always say to everybody, just because you got a great idea doesn't mean that it's going to be successful, because I can have, frankly, 5 ideas by noon tomorrow, and it doesn't mean that I'm going to actually, move forward with any of them. So that idea napkin is kind of where we start. And then we talk about market research and analysis and all those great things. And again, some of you have already kind of gone through this process. This is just to kind of let you know where we go. We do give them a startup kit. Everybody gets a startup kit. And even if you already have a business, and I like to say this, I've had many, many clients when I was in Cold Lake, and of course here in the Edmonton area, just because you have a business, and I've had clients that have had businesses for 5 years, and a lot of them have winged it. They stumbled through somehow and they managed to get to the end, and then maybe struggling. And so I always like to assume that lowest level of knowledge. And I go back to the basics and assume that, you've done all of these things. And so we do give them a startup kit. Everybody gets one. And there's also a USB included in the kit with some of the soft copies of things like business plans and that kind of thing on there. So, and then just to end the session, I wanted to talk a little bit about mental health, because a lot of the challenges that we have with our clients, a lot of the disabilities come from mental health. And there's a really great read. If you haven't seen it, and I can certainly send the link to Bridget, it's called Going It Alone, and it was created by the Canadian Mental Health Association and supported by the BDC. And some of the statistics that came out of this were actually quite shocking for us. And so I just wanted to share some of these with you guys, just so you can kind of see that there's definitely a relation. So the mental health concerns that can come to work with you, the one that shocked me, I think, was 62% of business owners felt depressed at least once a week. And then even the second one there, 46% say mental health issues interfere with the ability to work. These were quite interesting. Again, the first one was interesting here, where it said that businesses led by women, businesses where employees were more likely to report mental health issues were businesses led by women entrepreneurs, and businesses in growth or early stage, and also businesses with few employees or low revenue, probably because, again, it's me, myself, and I, right? If you're the only person in the business, or you and one other person. So, and entrepreneurs are more likely to use personal coping strategies to maintain their mental health. So fewer than 1 in 5 actually seek professional help. So yeah, it's a bit shocking. And then some of the statistics that came out, and it's a very long report. I just grabbed a couple that I thought was really relevant here. But as you can see, these are the physical and the mental health related stressors that entrepreneurs face. And these are again, quite shocking. And if you notice the male-female ratio there, fatigue, disturbed sleep, uncertainty and inadequacy, depressed mood, muscle tension, pain, mood swings, burnout, irritability. These are all what they reported in this report that they got back from the Canadian Mental Health Association. And as far as personal, and again, when you have your business, and we all know this, you can't go higher than me. I mean, this is where it stops, right? So some of the coping strategies on a personal side were things like, go for a walk or exercise regularly, take time off, talk to somebody, practice self-care. And we have a whole presentation on self-care, seek professional help. I mean, these are all things that came out of this report. And then the last one, so how do you cope with it at work? And so again, this is not a deep dive report, but it serves a purpose to advocate on behalf of entrepreneurs, especially those that suffer from some of these mental health issues. And, it really I just hope it increases the attention to entrepreneur mental health across Canada. And there needs to be more of an open discussion about entrepreneur mental health, and more attention paid to it by entrepreneur networks and organizations that support mental health. So, and you can see here, I mean, these are some of the coping strategies. Select a sense of purpose, or develop a sense of purpose, delegate tasks. Well, it's great to delegate tasks if you have somebody to delegate to. But if you're, again, a me, myself, and I business, it's really hard to do that, right? So, I mean, this is all available through that report, and I can send that link to you, Bridget, if you want to share that with anybody, because I think it's something that I think all of us need to see. So, and a couple of success stories. I'm not going to go through them in great detail because I know I don't want to take up too much of the time, but I highly recommend that you check out. These are a couple of our success stories. We had both of these individuals presented at our business showcase last year. But if you Google Agile, which is Harley, and if you Google B&P Boutique, which is out of Leduc, both have been very successful in their businesses so far. Again, you know, especially with the boutique, they had to close during COVID, but now she's starting to come back and she's putting a lot of her items online. So highly recommend you check them out. And that's kind of my presentation, just to kind of, you know, end off here. I think that, you remember, often people with disabilities are not automatically included when we think about a diverse society. And if you have a disability or you know someone that has a disability, to continue to be a part of the conversation, you know, by learning, sharing articles, talking about it with friends and coworkers. And I think, you know, speaking from, I think, one of the greatest scientific minds of our age, I think intelligence is the ability to adapt to change, and everybody knows who that gentleman is. So I like to challenge my clients. I like to encourage them, and above all, I like to help them get going in the right direction. So that's all of our information. You can contact us at any one of those. That's my personal email at Prospect. You can certainly contact me, and I can give you much more information. Yeah, if there's anything else, if you had any questions in the chat, I didn't get them, but Bridget, maybe you did.
Well, thanks, Kathryn.
I don't know if I did that in 6 minutes, but I was talking like this.
Honestly, I wasn't timing.
Okay, good.
I knew
okay,
we had a
good.
bit of,
It was 6 minutes, I'm pretty sure then.
I knew we had a bit of today. Are there any questions for Kathryn? Maybe while people think about that, I wouldn't mind hearing more about Agile.